Okay, we are recording. Good. All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Karen Adamski with ShamaMama.com. And I'm so glad you're here tonight to paint bees. So we're going to do honeybees tonight. It's a really easy thing to paint. And once you learn just the basic anatomy of how to paint, a honeybee, once you get that down, then you can just keep painting and painting and painting, and you can paint like a whole colony of bees. So this is a really kind of an introductory lesson, just kind of getting down the basics, and then from here you can continue to do more intricate bee paintings, do different side views of the bee. But tonight we're just going to do kind of a top view of a bee, very similar to this. So it's pretty basic. And in this lesson, I think tonight we're going to put a flower in here. I kind of like these flowers on this one. So I'll probably paint a flower in. We'll see how we feel tonight. But you guys feel free to use whatever colors you want. You don't have to follow along with me color-wise or canvas size-wise. You guys can go rogue. This is a really good time for you to just be creative and follow your intuition, okay? And you can just follow me step by step as well, because I'm going to take you through this whole process step by step. So it's very easy. So let's just take a look at this bee really quick. A bee has three main parts. It has its thorax, that's its body. It has its abdomen down here with its stinger as part of the abdomen. And then up here, this little part is its head. So that's really where we're going to start today. We're going to take our canvas and figure out where we want to put our bee on our canvas. And I'm going to just sketch my bee with some charcoal. Let's see here. All right, make sure you guys can see okay. So I think I'm going to have my bee kind of going that way again. It's kind of like the sample that I showed you guys. And I'm just going to take my charcoal and I'm going to sketch the bee. So let's start with that. Haley, are you okay? Yeah? Okay. You look like maybe you had a question or you were feeling nervous. You're good. Okay. All right. So to sketch the bee, we'll start with the thorax, that middle part of the bee. And the reason we want to start with the thorax is because that's going to kind of give us a grounding on our canvas, so we know where our bee is going to actually be at. So the thorax is kind of this weird, it's not really an oval, it's sort of like a lopsided egg. Like a person's head. It doesn't have to be perfect. Can you guys see that okay? Okay. So once you get that down, we're just going to put like a little pillow underneath it like that. Okay. Bring that up closer to the screen for you to see. You guys take your time. You can be doing this with colored pencils. You can be doing this with a pencil, with some paint. I'm just, like I said, using some artist charcoal. So we want to have, this is the thorax. This is that body part. And then we're on this little crescent moon, little hill right there. That's where it's going to attach to its abdomen. But before I do that, I'm going to put his head on. And his head is like kind of flat. It's like this flat little helmet. That's where his brain is. And that's where all of his sensory organs are. So for a bee, their sensory organs would help them find and, like smell things and feel things, see things. That's how they find their water and their pollen and all that. Okay, now on the sides of the head are these big eyes. These big giant eyes that they can measure direction with. Kind of gives them really good depth perception. So we've got the thorax here. flat little head, and big bulby eyes. Now, if things are feeling a little funny size-wise, it's okay because bees are very whimsical, and it's okay to have like bees with big eyes or big stingers. All right, so from here, I'm gonna make his stinger come down to about right here. So I'm gonna just take these corners and gently round them down to that tip. And take that corner and just gently round it to that tip. It gives us kind of a teardrop shape. And not to worry, I know this might look a little bit, wonky right now, but this is just our basic sketch. This is just to kind of map out our bee territory because we're going to be painting our bee on top of this. Okay. I'm going to move on because the bee needs some legs. And a bee has 3 sets of legs, so 6 legs total. If anybody needs me to slow down at any point, just unmute yourself and holler, okay, guys? All right. So the legs come, let's see, we're gonna put one up here right underneath his eyeball. And the trick with the legs is, can we do 1, 2, 3? So like 3 little parts, 3 little sticks. 1, 2, 3. Look at that. So those are his front legs. And the front legs are really important because they help clean his face. Clean his face and get the pollens off. So that's really the primary use for the front legs is for cleaning. All right, and then we're going to go down almost to the bottom. Do the same thing, but these legs are going to go downward. So we're going to kind of go out, down, and down. Out, down, and down. So see how I'm making those in 3 little sections? So it's like 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. We're just giving him some bones. All right, and then underneath those legs, I usually kind of make them come right out of the top of the abdomen, which, if we were in biology class, we wouldn't pass because that's not where these legs come. They don't come out of his abdomen. But once we get all the paint on there, it's going to look kind of like the abdomen. So I'm just going to kind of put it right here. I'm going to make a little tiny leg coming out, and then I'm going to make a 1, 2, 3. So kind of some longer legs. So a little blip out, and then a 1, 2, 3. Does that make sense? Coolio. All right, now between those legs here, right in the middle, that's where his wings are going to come out. And bees actually have 2 sets of wings. But when they're flying, it actually just looks like 1 wing. So for the painting reason, painting purposes, I'm just going to go ahead and make 1 wing, which are going to go off the canvas here, just fine, and use my imagination. We'll come back there. Do the same thing here. All right. So that's our basic bee sketch here. Yours might be bigger, yours might be smaller. It's all good, however it is. One last little part I want to put in here, actually, while I'm thinking of it, is a curve this way, and then a little curve this way. Almost looks like a smashed baseball.
Time. Question.
Yeah.
Can I see your original painting, because your wings went off the canvas, and that one kind of slightly came back. Okay,
Yep, it's all good. And if yours don't go off the canvas, that's fine. I always just, I have issues sometimes with like space, with proportion. I'm not so great with that. So, but I also like having a painting that has something that goes off of the canvas, a part of the painting at least that goes
Okay.
off, because it's kind of whimsical.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm going to put this here, that might be helpful. All right. So we've got our bee down here, we've got our wings in here, we've got our baseball things. Okay, great. Then we can put a couple stripes in here. 2 or 3. There's all different kinds of bees. Italian bees, Russian bees, all different kinds. So they all look a little bit different. So it gives us, a green ticket too.
Do they all have accents?
I would imagine they do. They all have an accent in their buzz. So I think I'm going to put a little bit of a flower in the here. So I think what I'm going to do is just sketch. And you don't have to put a flower if you don't want to. But I'm going to sketch some just little petals here. Gives you the idea that there's a flower there, and I'll probably put one down here. It's okay if we overlap the bee a little bit. Again, we're going off the canvas. All right, for me, that's good. I'm happy. So we've got our bee down, we've got our little flowers down here sketched. The next step is to put down our background. And the background's basically just going to kind of go in all those areas around the flowers and the bee. So for the background, I want to pick something like this purpley kind of color, because if you look at this black and yellow bee here, if we were to use, say, an orange background, that bee's probably not going to pop as much as he pops here. So if you want to have more of like a camouflage bee, maybe use oranges or yellows in your, or greens in your background. If you want to have kind of more of a pop, you can use a complementary color, which, so if you're looking at, here's what our bees are going to be in this range here. We're going to have kind of yellow and orange bees, right? So the colors that are going to make our yellow and orange bees pop are the ones that are directly across. So like these blues and purples, that's going to make them pop. But again, you could do some camel bees. You kind of do some warm colors or cooler colors. All right. So you pick your own background colors. I'd say pick a color, like maybe 2 to 3 colors with a little side of white is always helpful. I'm choosing to use some purple and some magenta. And I'm also going to use a little bit of dark blue. I use these colors a lot in my backgrounds. But I know some of you out there that are artists. We're all artists, but I know some of you, and I know your work, and I know that you are, have a tendency to go to different colors than I go to. So you guys use whatever colors speak to you. And I'm putting a little side of white in here. And so at this point, I'm just going to kind of mix my colors. I've got my purple, my dark blue, my magenta, and my white. So I'm just going to kind of take these colors, and I'm not going to put them on really, really thick. I'm going to spread all of the paint that's on my paintbrush on the canvas here. And like that even means like cleaning my brush on here. The reason I want to do that is because this is going to give us lots of shading in the background. So you see how I'm just kind of doing the background here and going around the bee. If I go over the lines, it's perfectly fine. it's okay to go over the lines because then, you know, it's going to give you a little bit more dimension. So I just dip my brush in a little bit more magenta. And with this background, we're not really worrying too much about, you know, what it looks like. It's just a background color. Get a little more blue in here. So I like just kind of taking this time to mix my color palettes and just kind of play around with the color mixing. One thing you can do, there's lots of different ways to texture, you know, add texture and things to your paintings, but you know, the wrapper that your canvas came in is a really good tool. You can kind of take that before you throw it away, just kind of take that cellophane and wad it up like this, and then just sort of blot it on your paint while it's still wet. And a lot of times that's going to give you some nice, interesting form and texture. Very subtle, but you see those little lines in there. Now, if I had a lot more paint on my canvas, the lines would be more dramatic. But it's kind of a, it's a kind of a poor man's tip, you know, using your wrapper before you toss it, upcycling. Actually, wanting to use this blue, but everything is so purple. There we go. Now I was using charcoal for my sketch, and you can see what that's doing. This charcoal is actually dirtying my paint. And I kind of like that actually, so I don't mind it. Some people do, I don't. Kind of reminds me of like tattoo art or like rock band art, like heavy metal rock band art, that kind of thing. I don't know, it just adds a little something, something. So by having this background showing through behind our flower and behind our bee, what that's doing is showing the background, and then we're going to have the foreground. And we can even overlap our bee and our flower to give it a little bit more layering look. And that's just something that artists do to make your eyes really happy. We like it when we see dimension and depth in art. And that's how we get it, by layering colors and by layering shapes. So we've got our background is kind of one shape. That's the big open canvas shape. And we've got our bee and our flower. So we have things that we can kind of layer. Our bee was going to have antennas. He's so well. I just forgot to put them on there. Sorry, Laura. He'll have antennas soon. All right, so these are the wings. One thing I like to do is paint the edges of the canvas rather than keeping the edges white. It's your choice. This is kind of what it looks like. So you've got that kind of working look. It looks like it's a little bit unfinished. That's kind of cool. And then you can paint your sides and it looks a little bit more complete and finished. So artist's choice here. You can either choose to do your sides or not do your sides. So I live in California, and we've been having fires, which I'm sure you've all seen on the news. But we keep bees. There's Marky and Joni, they keep bees here too. And Matthew and Liam, they have bees in their yard and have kept bees and are planning to do that still. Haley's kept bees. I don't know, do we have any other beekeepers here? Speak up. But we've noticed with our bees and the fires that they have been sticking closer to home and not producing quite as much honey as they would otherwise, I think. You know, they've been busy, but their honey production has been good, but it's just different because I think they know something's not right. They smell the smoke in the air and it's like, oh, you know, danger. I think animals just know instinctually, right? So your background is a good time to use your fingers. If you're a finger painter, it's a really good time to do that. Kind of smudge in, you know, different paints, different colors. Not everybody enjoys that, so you do you. I kind of think like smudging a little thing like that in the background makes me think like, ooh, it's out of focus and it's probably a flower back there. You know, that's what my brain thinks. Just put that in there, I like that. All right, so that's our background. And you guys continue taking your time with your background. If I tend to get ahead of you a little bit, don't worry about it because we have tons of time built into the lesson. And if you get ahead of me and you're like, okay, lady, hurry up, then I invite you to get yourself a cup of tea, relax, check out what other people are doing. All right. So I'm going to move on to the next step. If you're still working on your background, that's perfectly fine. If you have questions along the way, just unmute yourself and ask. All right, so I'm going to choose to use the orange, I think, like a whitish orange, kind of maybe, I don't know, I'm going to use white and orange, maybe a little bit of yellow, because again, it's a contrasting, it's going to make that pop, right? So we look here, I've got some good purples going on here. So if I bring in this orange flower, that's going to pop along with these bees. So I like that look. All right, I need to grab some orange. We're lucky in this day and age that I just can take some orange out of a bottle. If you don't have orange, that's okay because all you have to do is mix some red and yellow. And if you're doing that, just make sure you do a lot of yellow and a teeny bit of orange or a teeny bit of red because the red is super, super strong. But what I'm going to do here is just dip my brush in some orange. Then I'm going to dip a little bit in the white. So I have both on my brush. I'm going to kind of dab it off a little bit because I don't want to have too much paint on here. And I'm just going to drag my petals in from the tip of the petal, the outside tip, to the inside. And then fill it in. So we're just using some kind of broad strokes, again, just dipping. And I'm purposely going over my bee here. That's fine. All right, beauty. Again, this is going off the canvas. And this is just my first layer of color on my flowers. I'll probably drag some more white through there and maybe some yellow to brighten it up. orange and magenta are always really pretty together, very poppy, complementary, kind of fun, whimsical colors. I might put some magenta in here. Okay, so there's one flower. The same thing. I'm just going to roughly use my guide lines here. So I'm not doing, you know, like super following, staying in the lines. That's not how I roll. I like to kind of go outside the lines on purpose. It makes me feel good. All right. All right, so those are looking pretty good. Some more bright orange in here, I think. I'll just kind of drag some pure orange through here to make it pop a little bit. Really, the trick is to just take a little bit of color here and there and layer it. Not muddy it, but just kind of continue to layer. And like I said, I'm going to take a little bit of yellow and start putting that in there because yellow is going to kind of brighten this up a little bit. If anybody's got any questions, let me know. And for those of you who are watching the replay, if you have questions along the way or, you know, have any comments throughout this lesson, just type them below and I'll get back to you. I check the comments every day. Oops. All right, a little bit of yellow. Most flowers, when we're painting, have 5 petals. It's always a good, you know, if you kind of start wondering like, oh shoot, where do I stop? Where do I start? 5 is always a good number. I was mentioning that magenta. I'm just going to take a little dab of it with some white and put it right in the middle of this flower. Just dab, dab, dab. That up closer for you to see. You see that okay? Pretty dark, huh? All right. These. Yellow. And I'm going to drag in some white as well on top of all that. So just by layering, just by dragging these colors in, we're giving this flower some good depth. And I'm not really giving a whole lot of thought to where I'm putting that white. I'm just kind of dragging it in there. So, we got that going on. And then our flowers, you know, the reason the bees go to the flowers is for the pollen. So we're going to put some pollen in here too. And I want to put the pollen in. I want to put the pollen in now because I want the pollen to be over the flowers but under the bee, if that makes sense in our layering process. okay, because we're doing layer after layer of colors and shapes. So our next step is to sprinkle some pollen through here. So if you have like a really stiff paintbrush or maybe like a stippling brush that you would use for, you know, dabbing paint, if you don't have something like this, if you just have a dry brush, you know, don't get it wet, you can just kind of use that, or you can use an old toothbrush as well. Because what we're going to do is put some of this pollen in here. So I just got my brush a little bit wet, and I want to get some orange and yellow on there. And then what I'm going to do is get close to my canvas, and I'm going to sort of drag my finger across this, and it's going to go, you know, spraying. And we get a little bit of control with this. Ooh, that's really fine. I need to get some more bigger paint on here. You kind of just play around with it because you do get some good control, which is kind of fun to have. This just gave me like a teeny tiny mist, but I want it to be visible. So there we go. That's good. I'll probably put a little bit of white over the top of this. You see those little sprinkles? So just to give those bits of pollen a little bit more depth, I'm going to sprinkle in some white pollen as well. And that's kind of the cool thing about pollen. You know, our bees, on their back legs, they have what are called pollen baskets. So these little like Velcro areas where they can just like scoop up pollen and bring it back to their colony. So they carry it on their back legs. But the color of the pollen can change depending on, you know, what they're harvesting. So it's sometimes it's like a Cheeto orange. Here goes my white, by the way. Use this and then my finger again and drag it over the stuff that I did, because now I'm going to have two different colors on here. And that's going to give it some more depth. That's kind of what pollen looks like when you see it in a hive. It looks like these little specks and little blobs. And they're usually, like I said, like a Cheeto orange or a nice bright yellow, sometimes kind of a white, sometimes purple or lavender, pink. It's really pretty cool. All right, so that's the pollen. After the pollen comes the bees. Does anybody have any questions at this point? I'm going to pause here if anybody does. Anybody feeling left behind? If so, just let me know. All right. So after the pollen, we're going to paint our bee. And you can see how the pollen got spread all over the bee here. And that's okay. I'm just going to paint over that because we're going to be painting our bee with some black and some brown and some yellow and some white. Those are kind of the colors I'm going to pull out. So my first color is black. And usually when you're putting black on your palette, you don't have to put tons of black down. Black is a very strong color. So a little bit goes a long way. I'm going to use this brown color as well. You can use any shade of brown. Like I said, there's lots of different kinds of bees. Some are darker brown, some are black, some are, you know, real bright yellow, and some are more of a golden. I'll bring some yellow here. I'm just preparing my palette for my bee painting. White. All right. So what I'm going to start with first here is filling in some of my yellows. So first, I'm going to figure out his stinger's going to be black. So this will be yellow and then black, yellow, black. That helps me. And then up here is kind of a different colored brown. But what I want to do is get my yellow down first. I'm going to take it all the way to my edges. And I want to be careful here, you know, to kind of stay in the lines. This is a place where we do want to kind of do that. So my bee is going to have 2 yellow stripes. Yours, I would imagine, would have 2 or 3. Many as you choose. It's all good. I'm going to take a little bit of this yellow and just sort of shape this rounded body. Just a little bit in there. Okay, and then I'm just going to let my yellow dry for a bit while we're going to move on to black. And in terms of brush size here, you know, it depends on the canvas that you're working with. So like right now when I was doing these smaller spaces, I'm using a pretty small brush. But for these, you know, the larger spaces, just a nice medium brush or larger brush is good. So just sort of look at the size of what you're painting, even if it's just like, you know, that particular shape, and choose your brush that way. A lot of times you'll find that you tend to use the same brushes over and over. You'll find the ones that you're comfortable with. All right, so I'm taking my black and my brown and I'm kind of mixing them to make a blacky kind of brown. And I'm going to start here with the eyes. And I've got his little head here. This is our first layer. What color here? So what does that look like? Looks like he's wearing Mickey Mouse ears. Kind of funny. All right. I'm going to take that black, brown concoction there and sort of shape the torso here. And when I say shape the torso, I'm meaning pay attention to your brush strokes. So it's a rounded torso. We want to kind of use somewhat rounded, longer brush strokes here. So we're kind of paying attention to our shape. All right, so this guy still doesn't have any hair or anything on him yet. He's going to get a little wider as we go. But I'm just going to, at this point, continue with his abdomen. And I can't see my original lines so well anymore, but that's okay. You can kind of tell where they're at. You just eyeball it. It's all good. This first black stripe in. I'm choosing to not put total black here. I'm going to probably make that a lighter brown color. and the stinger. So my stinger is going to come over my flower here. My flower's dry enough now to do that. But see, by doing that, little bit of overlap there. Now our eye's like, oh, look at that. It's in front of the flower. I might make it be a little wider here. Yeah, like that. Okay, so I'm going to dab a little bit of white and brown together. Mix a little bit of a brownish. Still pretty dark. This little upper part of his abdomen is kind of like a, doesn't have the stripes, the hairy little stripes like the rest of his body has. It's just this little part of his ectoskeleton, maybe, I'm not sure. Choose to, again, shape my little guy here. All right. I'm going to take some white then. Start thinking about putting some little hairs, just a few little hairs here to kind of mark out my territory. I'll bring that a little closer for you to see. And before I put in all of his hair on his body, I want to make sure I get his legs in there though too, because we don't have any legs on him yet. Does anybody need me to slow down? No, good, okay. Haley, yeah? Smidgy, okay.
Yeah, I'm a little bit behind.
Okay. You want to show us where you're at so far?
Sure.
You don't have to. I didn't mean to call you out. Oh, that's so cute.
But we're both a little bit behind.
Yeah.
But we do have a new
Oh.
roommate moving in right now, so we've been distracted a little bit.
Oh,
But
good. It's all good. Look at Sonia's in the background. That's beautiful. Anybody else wants to hold theirs up? This is a good time to check in and show us what you got going. Oh, you're painting a rock, Norma. Beautiful. I love it. Love, love. All right. So I am going to move on to the legs. I'll paint them slowly. And we're going to do just the same thing that I did when I was putting them down with charcoal. Just kind of think 1, 2, 3. We've got those little stick legs. 1, 2, 3. And you can lay the legs in pretty, pretty hard, pretty thick if you want to, because we're not really going to, once we get the legs down, we're not going to be messing with them a whole lot. So once the legs are down, they're good. All right, so those are just front legs. So now we need his middle legs. Out. Down. Here. Out. Down. Okay. So those are his front legs and his middle legs. Now we need his back legs. And once we get all this fluff on him, you're really not going to be able to tell where his legs are coming from exactly. So it's all good. Okay, this goes out a little bit, and then we go down. 1, 2, 3. And back here, This is where his little pollen baskets are. I'm going to paint these in. This is on his leg. And this one comes out, it goes down 1, 2, 3. But in the middle of his back leg, he's got this little basket, and that's where he gathers his pollen. Now, if you don't want to put that basket in there, I promise you, nobody is ever going to know the difference. So it's all good. You do you. You don't have to do the basket. Basket on the outside. All right. I'm going to start kind of paying attention to this little area here too. That little stripe that goes through here. I'll shape it a little bit. I'm going to put a little bit more yellow on now because my first coat of yellow is dry. So what I'm going to do first is put a little bit of white in there on top of my yellow. And what this does is this is going to help brighten up our yellow a little bit and help it compete nicely with the black. We could have done this on our first layer too, but it's okay because that layer of yellow that's now underneath this white is still shining through, so it's okay. We're gonna cover it again with yellow, but this helps get that strong color going. And while I've got the white going, I think I'm gonna put my first layer in my wings. I've got all this pollen and smudginess and stuff here that I can kind of clean up. I can use a bigger brush here because these wings are a much larger space. So like I said, bees have 4 wings total. They have front wings and hind wings, but when they're flying, you can't tell the difference. They come together. And really, these wings come out of his back, so it's okay to drag the wing up onto the body there a little bit if you want to. And I'm going to make this wing go off the side here. All right, so that's a nice little foundation for his wings. I'm going to let that dry. I kind of drag a couple of white lines like this through here. It's almost like a circle. I'll show you guys that. It's just going to give us a little bit of shape. You don't have to do this. My guy's just looking really flat. But if you're happy with your shape now, because I saw some really good shapes out there, don't feel like you need to do that shaping. I'm just trying to make my little guy look a little bit more rounded here. Cool. That white's still a little bit wet, so I'm gonna let that dry a little bit before I put more yellow in. So I think I'm gonna start putting in a little bit more hair on his torso. I'm gonna take that brown and white, maybe a little bit of yellow. I'm going to start going all around his torso. And it's sort of like you're giving him, you're not giving him a haircut, you're like giving him hair. So it's like the backwards reverse. Putting in some brown. And trying to, continue to maintain this round torso. You want to bring that torso down into the his abdomen a little bit here too, to combine the two. A little hair over that.
Now I have to ask you, did you paint the yellow white?
I
His
did.
body? Huh?
Yeah, because my yellow was a little bit wasn't strong enough, so I put some white on top of the yellow, and then I'm going to put some more yellow on it, and it's going to make the yellow a lot more strong. But
Okay.
if you're not having that problem, if you're having a good strong yellow there, there's no need to put the white there. But
Okay.
I wanted to kind of share it as a tip too, because anytime you're having with yellows especially, or like lighter colors, more pastels, those kinds of colors, if you put a white base down, it will give them strength. So sometimes colors get lost a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, and my yellow was definitely getting lost. So now that this white is a little more dry, I'm putting my yellow on top of that. So now I'm going to be much happier with that yellow. Like I said, you guys might not all need to put that in there. Just depends on your paints. Okay, I'm going to bring up this yellow into the hair up here too. Just give him all a little fuzz. Now see, this middle part of his torso is not super fuzzy. It's really just fuzzy around the outside of his torso. It's like he's got a little hula hoop of fur around him. Somebody's waiting to get in. Let's see. All right. So now I put this yellow all around his torso. It's like, oh, it's kind of yellow, so maybe I'll bring a little bit of black in there. So it's all about layering. This little guy's got thousands and thousands of little tiny hairs all over his torso. So we want to take some time and put some black hairs in, put some white hairs in, put some yellow hairs in, brown hairs in. You can put neon hairs in. Somebody's using neon tonight. Maybe an electric bumblebee. But it's a process of just kind of like over and over and over. How you guys doing? Everybody doing okay? So, believe it or not, these little stripes are actually filled with little hairs too. So we can start to put little bits of hair coming down over the yellow. If you want to. If you like that really sharp line, then just leave it as is.
And what color are you doing the hairs?
On this one, I'm just doing black. I'm just doing black, and I'm putting, bringing it down just a little bit onto the yellow. And this is kind of a neat thing to do too, because it really, so see how this one's nice and straight. So you could leave it just like that, a nice straight edge stripe, or you could kind of add these little hairs in here if you want to. It's just a preference.
Thank you.
Of course. I like making them a little bit hairy because it covers up any imperfections.
We have imperfections?
We have lots of imperfections. That's a good thing. I'm giving him a little bit of hair up here on the top part of his abdomen too, dragging that down into his first yellow stripe. Now you'd have to really get your magnifying glass out to look at a bee to see his little hairy stripes. They're hard to see, but they're there. Except that on his stinger, there is no hair on the stinger. So just thinking about this lesson in general, you've got your thorax circle, your kind of teardrop abdomen, and your little kind of Mickey Mouse head and ears. That's the basic shape to get you going with these. So pretty easy. So. I'm going to bring a little bit more black up here. I like how he's brown, but I want to bring some black in here too. And again, here I'm using that directional painting to keep him looking somewhat round-ish. Then there's something about this part that's bugging me a little bit. Oh, there we go. Just needs to be a little bit more circular. I was having trouble with that earlier. You know, sometimes when you're painting something and it's like, something's not quite right, I can't figure it out. You know, just stepping back and taking a look can help your eyes see what it is. Bring some white. Little white hairs in here so we can add some more color too. But when you have black and then you want to put another color on top of black, that's sometimes hard, right? Because black's such a dark, strong color. So I want to bring some yellow into this, but I'm never going to see it if I don't get this white down first. Makes sense. And I can put the yellow on top of the white and now it shows. Like hair by hair. Creating these little guys. They work hard. the middle of this part up here on his abdomen, he's got hair on the outsides, but this top part is kind of baldish. So I'm trying to just make a little circle here. It's looking pretty good. And as you're painting, if you get to a part, you know, a spot and you're like, oh my gosh, this is just not looking right. It's just part of the process. There's always an ugly stage. Don't panic. Okay. All right, he's looking pretty good there. I'm gonna start he needs his antenna still. They go up like this, and then forward. Oops, let's see. You come right out of his forehead. Some blacks down. So it's really just about layering blacks and the lighter colors over and over. Any questions, guys? You know, at this stage, it's kind of, you're in that, you know, you're creating your bee. You see it happening. You may not need my help at this point, and that's all good. In the zone. For the wings, what I typically like to do is just lightly drag a somewhat straightish line down the middle, wavy, straight, not too straight, but do that on both. And then like a branch or like a tree branch, you know how you've got the main branch and then little branches that come off? That's kind of what happens with these. So you just sort of have these little veiny branch things that go in. You see how it's kind of like roots of a tree almost, or branches on a tree. I'm just lightly using black. You know, but any dark color is fine. You could use blue or purple. And these are the same kind of wings that you would do if you were painting a dragonfly. It's another really fun thing to paint. They're like cousins, really. They've got the same kinds of eyes, same kind of wings. So in terms of painting, they're very similar.
I have a question. Did you paint your wings white? I missed that part.
I did. Yeah, I just put a little coat of white down because I had to cover up the pollen that I had on there.
Got it.
Put a little coat of white, and then I just drug these little branchy things through.
All right, thank you.
You're so welcome.
Let me see. I'm not even at the under the eyeballs. Did you do brown first?
I did black and brown kind of mixed together. And you see I kind of have more brown going on in here. than I do up here. So I'm just gonna kind of be mixing. I'm gonna make this probably more blackish to kind of mix, you know, with the rest of this. It's kind of, you know, we're all gonna have different looking bees. They're all gonna be very, very similar, but you get to kind of create the color. But yes, I use brown and black mixed together.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna continue on with a little bit more black though, if that helps. And then I'm gonna do some highlighting on here too. So we'll highlight his eyes at the end.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're so welcome. Hi. Actually, I'll just highlight his little eyes now because there's no reason not to. Because his eyes are just, you know, the black balls. And all you have to do is just take a little bit of white and drag it down. Another little bit of white and drag it down. So see what that kind of does. It makes the little eyes pop. It's kind of nice. Like I said, I was going to put a little bit more black in here because my, I don't know, he's looking like he's brown. I think that's what I want to do. So really with the combination of black, brown, white, and yellow, you know, if you're working with those colors, those are good bee colors. So any combination of those colors is going to look pretty darn good. I'm going to take some of these browns, I think, and drag them into the bottom of my black a little bit more. I'm just trying to even out my colors. And that's really what this stage is all about, you know, because our colors are all going to look a little bit different. And that's to be expected. So it's just a matter of you know, what colors you have on your bee, trying to get it all situated and all pulled together. Make sure your bee's looking spiffy. Lights are good. Okay. I think at this stage I'm going to bring in a little bit of a lighter brown, a yellow ochre. And it's just because I think I want to sprinkle a little bit of a less harsh brown over, you know, the entire bee here and there. Just kind of tone him down a little bit. Make him a little bit more golden. And this is just something I'm choosing to do in the moment. You don't have to try to keep up and follow. It's just, so what we're doing now is just making sure our bee is the color that, you know, colors that we like. You want to bring the colors that feel right to you into your bee. I like this little bit of a more golden brown. I'm going to get that in here a little bit. I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of that into my yellow as well, I think. I like that it's not so bright. Just dragging a little bit. I have pretty much a dry brush. I'm just kind of dragging it across that yellow. I like that. Oh, looks like his head is actually a little bit fuzzy as well. I'm gonna put some little fuzzes in there. Right there between his eyes. And then every once in a while, we want to make sure you get some white in there. Don't forget your whites. Don't forget your blacks, because it's like the seasonings. Just makes things a little more happy looking, makes them pop. I'm liking my bee. How are you guys doing? If anybody's got questions, just let me know. I've got this thorax up here that's now pretty hairy all around him with his nice little eyes. And his abdomen, that the top part's kind of hairy and the bottom part's not so hairy, but it's all good. 6 legs, and antennae. So one thing, as I'm looking at this in the camera, one thing I'm noticing about my flowers is they look a little bit dull. So I think I'm going to put some darker outline lines in my flowers just to make them pop while you guys are continuing with your bees. Once you get your bee down, then it's really we're at the stage where you will be just kind of fine tuning. So you can see I'm just putting a little bit of black in that flower compared to the other flower. It makes it, gives it a little bit more dimension. So blacks and whites at the end of our painting are really important. If you put something down that you don't like, it's okay to drag your finger across it to erase it. Often I will spit on it and just drag my finger across it. I think most of my paintings have spit in them. I think I'm going to put some nice pollen in his pollen baskets on his back legs. I'm going to look for nice orange, since those are probably flowers full of orange pollen. I'm going to mix some yellow and orange together on my brush like this. and just kind of plop this nice, yummy paint into his pollen basket. So these little things back here, just like Velcro. And this is where they bring their pollen back, right here. And again, artist choice, you don't have to do this.
I feel like my wings are missing something.
Let me see.
All right.
Oh, they look really good.
I think they're missing something. Are they missing color,
Color.
maybe?
Yeah, you could take a little bit. So think about wings. You know, they can be kind of iridescent looking. And when you get that iridescent look, those are like light purples, light
So then
pinks.
like put some blue in it because I have the blue background?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
no, you're saying iridescent.
Well, yeah, but like the tones of something that's iridescent, though, that would be like a little bit of a blue or a pink. So yeah, if you take a little bit of that blue and mix it with some white, so it's like a really light blue, and kind of sweep that in there.
Okay.
Or like a light purple or a light pink. I think what I'm going to do on mine too, because I kind of put some gray. I've got two different tones of black on mine.
Okay.
So yeah, you know, you could do a lighter color there. I'm going to put some clear glitter in my wings as well. I'll show you guys how to do that if you guys have it with you. But you know, just because it kind of glistens a little bit, I always like to do that whenever I'm doing wings.
Maybe that's what I'll do is glitter it.
Glitter's good.
There you go.
Yeah, it's all good. Whatever speaks to you. But yeah, anytime you're doing wings, you know, like this guy has, just trying to see what I have on him. He's got a little bit of gray and some yellow in his wings. So it's not real obvious, but it's also not a flat white either. You know, it's not just white and black. It's kind of a
Okay.
muted combo. Ooh, those pollens are big. I'm gonna need to put some white on those. You know what I should have done is gone out to the hive and got pollen out of the hive and painted it into here. That would have been cool. Next time. Put yellow in there. This guy's been busy collecting pollen. Lots of pollen. If you guys have silver paint, silver's really pretty in the wings. That's always a nice color to add. But you don't have to have that. It's all good. I'm going to find my glitter. Oh, I can't find my glitter. I'm going to just use some silver paint then on the wings a little bit. I have this Liquitex ink. You certainly don't need it for this lesson, but this is a much more watered down paint. So you use this for, let this person in. You would use this for like dripping and that type of thing. It's a very, it's an ink really. It has a lot of flow to it, but a lot of times what I'll do is take these inks and just put a little bit on my finger and then rub it in. And not even rub it in all over, just, you know, certain spots. because it just gives a little bit of like an iridescent sheen. Where my glitter is, you know I'm going to find it as soon as we're done with this lesson, probably. But if you had glitter, what you can do is put a clear coat on here, or even craft glue, like kids' craft glue, watered down, because that's going to dry clear. So you can almost use that as a paint, and then just sprinkle whatever glitter you want on there. I have like a clear glitter that I love for the wings. I wish that I had them with me, but it's something to tuck away in the back of your mind. So next time you want to have fancy wings, maybe pick up some of that clear glitter. All right, so how's everybody doing? Haley, are you all finished? Like, can you show us?
I am finished. Casey is still working, but this is what I got.
Beautiful. Are those poppies?
Yes, of course.
Those are so pretty.
Thank you.
I like it.
Thank you, guys.
This is what I have so far.
Oh, that's great. Look at those nice sharp lines. So look at her style compared to my style. Totally different. Both are fine. Like, it's like, you know, it's just super cool. That,
Yeah.
you know, you don't have to be exactly the same. I love it. Very fun. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Does anybody else want to share where they're at so far?
Everybody's seen mine already.
Your beautiful rock. I see Marky's got his. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's so cute. That's got a lot of stripes. That's a happy bee. Is that yours, Marky?
Yeah.
Very cute. I like it. And how about you, Joni? How are you doing?
Almost.
That's cool.
We can share ours.
Okay, yeah. You want to show us yours? Okay.
So this is mine so far. I haven't quite finished.
Ooh.
You did too.
And then there's my dad's.
Oh,
Nice.
nice. So cute. Hold those up together. Oh, yeah. Good job, you guys. These are awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. And Joni is using a lighter. I saw that, so we're gonna have to see what she's going row. Oop, here it comes. Ooh.
Aw.
Okay, you want to explain everything you did here? Did you use a
I
stencil?
started an hour early and I painted the background with stencils.
It's
And
beautiful.
I put the bees on there.
And she just got through dripping honey down the top.
Yeah, that's honey. I just tripped.
Oh my goodness, you guys, that is just, that's so cute. So flipping cute. Joni's like quite the artiste, isn't she? Love. All right, Emily, do you want to show us what you've got going on? Ooh, I like it. Look at that stinger. Oh, that's really cute. Look at that sassy with her hips. She's got like queen bee hips. I like it. Super cute. Let's see. And Lori, we cannot see Lori or Sherry. That's okay. Sonia, do you want to show us where you're at? Oh my goodness. Oh, I love. Look at those little specks around. That's super cute. Whimsical. Oh, look at you. You guys are like, that's a little cute pair together. So cute. Good job, guys. All right. Well, we can keep painting because we've got another half hour of this lesson, so you can totally take your time. I am here if you've got questions, if you need advice. If you're finished, you're certainly welcome to log out whenever you want to. It's all good, but we are here and there's plenty of time. So that's kind of.
This was what Joni used as a starting point. It was one that you painted for her.
I remember that painting. I did a good job on that. What year is on there? Oh, look at the sides. Look at the sides on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Black and yellow striped sides. That's cute.
I copied too.
Yay! Well, you can hang them together. Now it's going to be like a set. I love that. I love that that was your inspiration, Joni. That makes me happy. So I'm doing putting together now a class, a painting class that's all about painting bees. So this is kind of the beginning of how to paint bees, but then you think about, how do you paint the side of a bee? How do you paint the flowers? How do different techniques, like you saw Joni has that nice honeycomb stencil. I have one around here too. In the lessons online, we're going to use a stencil like that, and along with some other tools that you have around your house that you can make something very similar without having to go out and buy stencils. So I'm in the process of filming all of that now, and it'll probably be out in the beginning of November. So that'll be a lesson online. And if you guys ever want, I know some of you are students in my classes online, but that address is shamamama@teachable.com. So you can find me there if you ever want to, spend a few hours painting or spend a couple weeks painting. It just depends on the lesson that you pick. But if you're feeling like, you want to learn some new steps or just be creative, those are good classes.
Can I request a class? I want a hummingbird class.
You want a what class?
A hummingbird.
Hummingbirds.
I love your hummingbirds.
You've got people liking that. Okay.
We will join that. We will join that.
Okay. Yes. Thank you. Awesome. Hummingbirds are pretty easy too.
Oh,
Yeah,
it
you can
looked
get
hard. I thought it would have to be a class. A big, big.
Yeah, I love that idea. I love that. Okay. Thanks, Joni. Great minds. If anybody else has any suggestions on classes, I know I was thinking about doing mushrooms. We've got the bee class coming up. I thought of something else the other day.
Turtle or tortoises? That'd be kind of cool.
That would be fun. You are such a turtle guy, aren't you? That's your thing. I have a turtle back there. We could do him. Yeah, turtles are good. Elephants are fun.
So we had the good fortune to be able to watch our 5-year-old granddaughter, which was one of the first times since the pandemic that we had her over here. And Joni played your pumpkin painting class for her. And this was what she painted. She's 5 years old.
Oh my God, look at her. She's 5 and she did that.
Yeah, look at how good she did the star
Oh,
thing
way
with
better
this.
than me.
With this,
Those all of ours.
yeah, it turned out so cool.
I love it. Did she use the stippling brush to make those stars?
Yeah.
Wow.
Good brush, yeah.
She just used the stiff
I
brush and.
have pictures, but I can't post them because I'm not allowed to put her
Oh,
picture
sure.
on.
That's okay. Absolutely.
But
Well, thank
so
you for
cute.
sharing. So good.
And she got bored. We had to take an M&M break after half an hour.
Yeah, that's kind of what, yeah, that's a long time for a 5-year-old. Good for her. We'll tell her she gets a big, giant A+, and a whole bunch of people saw her work and think she's awesome. And Liam, you were holding up your painting of your turtle that you did, huh?
Yeah, this is the spray painting one that I did at your class a while ago. I just knocked over a few paints. So, there we go.
That's so good. I see the Om symbol in there, and that, yeah, I love that turtle with the swirl. Beautiful.
Oh, part of it chipped off. Right on you, Dad. A little piece on you. Yeah, right in there. Right there.
There it is.
Yeah. There it is.
I like that. Maybe you should teach the painting class for turtles, Liam.
I don't think so. No.
Jamie was giving you a thumbs up. I don't know.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're so welcome. Did you have fun, Norma?
Yes. In this whole time of COVID, I've been wanting to paint, and today was the first time
Oh,
I
good.
got to sit down and just say, I'm going to paint.
Gonna paint.
Thank
If you ever
you.
get stuck and you need, you know, like a muse inspiration, to somebody to like show you, like, hey, here's an idea. You know, sometimes it helps. If you go to my YouTube channel, it's Shama Mama on YouTube. I think it's Shama Mama. Anyway, there's a bunch of painting videos on there. So, you know, that sometimes if you're stuck or you're like, I don't know what to paint. I know I want to paint, but I don't know what to paint. There's some good lessons.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
You wanna
And then
share?
that's my sister and my niece, Sonia, who joined because I invited all these people and I said, who's going to join? So,
Yay!
yeah, so they
I'm so
joined.
glad.
Yeah.
Are you
Thank
guys related to Angela? No?
Probably not. No.
Oh, okay. All right. You you look like you could be, and I just thought, are Angela's peeps here?
Oh. No, no. I don't know. I just saw you on the Facebook.
Cool. Where do
I don't
you
know
live?
why. I don't know how. Maybe, I don't know. I don't think anybody invited me. You were just there all of a sudden.
That seems to be happening more, and I think it has something to do with like the filters. If you're interested in certain things, and then if
Oh,
I
okay.
go to like an event, and they might like flash my stuff, to, you know, across your screen because they know you might be interested. I think that's how it works. But where
Okay.
do you live?
San Jose, California.
Oh, you do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of cool. What are the chances? Because I know that's, you know, the whole world's out there, and we're both in the same city, so that's pretty fun.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and I invited everybody in San Jose that's on my Facebook, and it's like, yay, my sister showed up and my niece showed up.
Yay,
So,
I'm so glad. Okay, so that's
Yeah.
your sister and your niece. That's so
Yeah.
cool. Well, I'm glad you guys got to have a family get together this way. That's awesome.
true.
Perfect.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. We'll see you next time.
Okay, we'll see you next time.
Okay.
I'm gone.
All right.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye-bye.
Nice to see everybody busy painting. Haley, are you guys finished?
Oh, you ordered Domino's?
Hi, Mom. I'm finished. Casey's just taking a break. And I ordered Domino's, as you heard.
Yeah, we heard. That's awesome.
Um,
Funny.
but I don't want to log off quite yet because I want to see what everyone creates.
Yeah,
So,
no, you can just stay. It's all good.
sweet.
What kind of pizza did you get?
Cece, what kind of pizza did you get? Just pepperoni.
Good.
Okay,
Oh, look at Sonia. Now, is that Sonia?
I'm Edna.
Edna, okay. Edna, because Edna's big. I
Hi,
like it.
Sonia.
And I got
I don't like the white. I don't like the white. So what do I do again?
Don't like the wings.
the wings. You don't like the wings?
They're too white. What do I do?
White. Oh, white or wide.
White.
White.
White's the color. Okay. Just pull like a little bit of, if you have silver paint, you can pull some silver through there, or you could do a little bit of gray, or a little bit of a really light purple or pink, something kind of white, but just with a little bit of color to it. And just kind of pull that next to those, the veins, or those little branches in the wings, just to get a little bit of extra color in there. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
So you can probably.
So around the what did you call those veins?
Yeah, like the veins
Yeah.
or the branches. Let me show you here. So see how, like I did the black here, and then there's a little bit of silver or gray that kind of goes in there too. So it's not all white. I put a little bit of silver over that.
Like accents.
Okay.
Let's see.
Okay.
Oh, there's a bee
I
in here.
really enjoyed this. Yeah. This is very neat. What did you do? You saw that?
Yeah, yeah, so any kind of light color is good. So it just breaks up that white, because it is very, very, if you just have the flat
Like
white, it can be very,
white. I mean, do you want pink, more pink?
No, I liked how
Okay.
it
So then,
I mean this. I'm gonna put
so you can do white and purple a little bit.
she said some purple.
there are, I have lights in here to light this lesson. And the bees from outside are coming in. From outside, they're joining us for the lesson. You can't really see them, but they're here. That's kind of funny. Hey, Matthew, are you guys going to the yoga on Monday? I'm wondering if maybe that's something you can.
You know, I haven't found the invite. That's why I haven't sent it.
Oh, okay.
But we
No
are
worries.
definitely going. And I'll look before we go. We'll send it. It's 5:45, and I can send you the address.
Okay. Okay.
But you're still on my mind. I just haven't been able to.
Oh yeah, no, that's fine. I just thought it might be since we've got some San Jose people here, maybe you could mention it because it might be something other people might be interested in.
Okay. Yeah, tomorrow actually we're heading off to apparently in the Santa Clara Farmers Market. There is yoga at 8:45 and 10, and I guess there's a park next to there. So
Oh, okay.
we'll be at the 10 o'clock one.
Tomorrow. Okay. And then the one on Mondays in Mountain View, you said, right?
Yes, and there's drumming, and Liam's bringing his flute.
Yep. I'll also bring my drum too.
Well, we'll bring our drums and flute.
Cool. Very, very cool. All right.
Did you get Gil?
What's that?
Did you get a hold of Gil?
Jill.
No, I haven't done it yet, but I plan to.
Okay.
Thank you for sending that.
Hey, no problems.
I liked Emily's pointy point. She's still on here? She left. That was really cute. I love seeing how different everybody's is. Thanks, Haley. I'm not putting it up to make you clap for me. I'm putting it up for reference so people can see. But thank you for giving me claps. I really appreciate it. You're so supportive. So I don't have any other events scheduled as of yet for the rest of this month. I actually won't have anything else for the rest of this month, but I should have some things on the calendar for mid-November. I'll keep you guys posted. Lori Marriott, I know you are not, we can't see you, but are you painting tonight? Lori's probably not able to hear me, but it's all good. Are you all done, Liam?
Indeed. I'm just, yeah, I'm texting my,
Oh,
I'm texting my painting to my, that's my family who wasn't on today. So yeah.
Gotcha. Well, that's nice. I'm sure they're going to be impressed. You want to hold this up again?
Sure.
Perfect. And what's your favorite part of it?
That's a good question. I kind of like the little things on the side, and I also like the flowers quite a lot. I thought I wouldn't like those. I kind of just rushed through them, but they turned out pretty well.
Yeah, they're beautiful. I love the flowers.
And then I was also
pollen back.
for the background, I was doing blue and magenta for the top, and then I started run out of blue, and then down here is just all magenta. I thought, oh, that's not gonna look good, but it turned out like almost kind of like a light source, which is not bad.
Yeah, it looks very much like a shading thing going on in your background, so it's perfect. Isn't it funny how the things you don't spend a lot of time with are the things that's like, oh, that wasn't my plan. It can be some of the things that you're like, oh, I like that the best. You know, so it's like sometimes when we think about things too much, we get in our way. But that's really great. Yeah, good job.
Yeah, it was kind of like a weird mood to start off with, so I was like just rushing through everything, like, just get this done. And then as I got into it, I'm like, I started realizing, hey, this is actually not that bad.
Yeah,
and
it's not.
Yeah.
Throwing down color, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Good job, Liam.
And you're totally right with like oranges and yellows. You have to add the white first. It makes such a difference.
Yeah, it really does. And it's not something that you would think to do, right? It seems like a weird thing to cover that up. But it's just, you know, with time, you start learning these little hints that make colors pop a little bit more. So it's always good to share those little tips.
And also I always like use my full palette, but I barely use any colors. Of
That's
this,
what I always do.
I use a little bit of my dad's orange and black, but this is all I use, which is achievement for me.
That's good. Good job.
Yeah.
See, that's a nice clean palette you've got going on. Mine's looking pretty messy. This was mine from tonight. But that's really
Yeah,
just like that, right?
Yeah, it's almost a painting in itself.
Exactly. And Edna,
Yeah.
how were you showing me your painting? Ooh. That is beautiful. I like that nice little shading you put in there on those wings. That gives it some nice texture and shading. That's nice.
My
Wait, go.
second paint party, and I am a fan of tortoises. So I'm going to keep you on mind when you do your tortoises. I'm a collector of tortoises.
Okay. We will do a tortoise. We'll do a tortoise one. And Joni has a tortoise. I have a tortoise. You're a collector. Liam loves tortoises.
Yeah, you just put up like 5 spaces on my on my list. That tortoises are awesome.
Cool. All right, we'll do tortoises for sure. Haley's happy. Good.
Playing over there, but I didn't see this yet.
Yeah.
Because you
I
just
collect
did that.
tortoise statues. Oh, my other house I do.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Interesting. Got a
Yeah.
bunch of tortoise people here, huh?
Well, turtle tortoises. Yeah.
Yeah. See, yeah, you go both ways, huh? Turtles, tortoises, it's all good. Land, sea. Yeah, good deal. All right, so we'll do tortoises and hummingbirds.
Hummingbirds.
Yeah, tortoises and hummingbirds. Sounds like a story. I'll bet they're buddies.
Are you available for like if I wanted to actually like do my own paint party and like you to like book you and stuff like that?
Yeah,
Okay.
I have enough equipment and supplies to do a party of 20. So I have 20 easels, and I'm mobile, so I can come to you or go to the park. And I know these days it's different. I know you wouldn't be doing a party of 20, but we'd have to think about that. But yes, I do paint parties often.
Okay, cool.
And often with those too, you can give thought to what is it that you want to paint and what is, because usually when I do a lesson, there's a message along with it. So we kind of talk about the layering of what we're doing, what we're building, and there's kind of a spiritual thing to it too, in a way. It's not, we can do whatever you would want to do. But if you wanted to really fine tune that to your group and say, oh, what we want to do tikis or tiki poles or whatever, owls or whatever it is that you want to do for a particular reason, we can fine tune it, for you.
Cool. All right. Awesome.
Thanks for asking.
Yeah, for sure. I wanted to do one for my birthday like 2 years ago, but it never happened. So I definitely have that in mind. So I'm going to do it again.
Good. You should. It's a really fun thing to do, and you don't have to really worry about much of anything. And it's fun to get the people that you care about together, and I'll do something creative together, and because you kind of learn from each other too and see, how you're similar and how you're different, and it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Well,
I had fun though. I'm all done now.
you want to show? Oh, that's beautiful. Now, what's your favorite part of it? I love it.
I think my favorite part is either the wings, but also this middle part right here. Yeah. I was having a little bit of trouble with the top part. I think I added a little too much yellow, but I'm still satisfied with it.
I think it's really, really beautiful. I love the little yellow part of the thorax. It looks somewhat like a sunflower.
Yeah, that's
Very
what it
cool.
looked like. I was like, I don't know if I want it to look like a flower, but it came out that way.
Yeah, and I like that part that you said too, right below that on the abdomen. That was the part I was really struggling with. It's like, oh, hers looks really good.
Thank you.
Yeah, good job. And then do you want to show yours again?
So I think I'm gonna leave it this way. I know I didn't do a whole lot of pollen or a lot on the body, but I was behind. But I'm gonna go ahead and leave it like that.
I would totally leave it.
So I enjoyed it. I had fun.
It was beautiful, beautiful. I love, are those like, how did you do the dots behind the bee? Is that with a brush or your finger? How did you do that?
That was just with our brush.
But
Okay.
you sprayed it, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, the stipple.
We just dabbed it. So like my brush is really, really stiff. So we just dipped it in yellow and orange, and then we just dabbed it really fast.
Yeah, I like it. I like them big like that because it gives it that whimsical look, you know, like starry almost.
We weren't planning that way, but we were running behind. So we're like, let's just do this really fast.
Oh, I'm sorry if you felt rushed at all. I try to stay a step ahead, but you know, I know it's hard.
I'm a little bit too much of a perfectionist. I think that's fine.
Well, you guys did a great job.
Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you, and we'll see you guys again.
Sounds good for tortoises and hummingbirds.
Yes.
Okay.
Have a good night, everyone.
Bye.
First weekend.
Joni, do you want to share your final painting with the honey dripping? Oh, that's so cool. Okay, she's got the wind going on behind the flowers. There's honey dripping. She's got honeycomb and the bees feeding on the honeycomb and the honey. She's got 3. That odd number is super happy for our eyes. I love it. Love, love, love. Good job, Joni.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're like a rock star. All right. How are you girls doing over there?
So Casey's working on her fuzzies, and it's looking beautiful.
Oh, that looks so good. Oh, I like how you're blending your colors together too. Look at that. That is very good.
Haley's helping me. Give me tips.
Good, 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 good. Very good, you guys.
Because I fell kind of a little behind.
No, that's okay. Well, that's part of like, you know, painting, there's not like you can lose time when you're painting. So putting yourself on a clock when you're painting or even trying to like keep up with somebody, you know, like we're live right now, but it's kind of a blessing when you're watching the rerun and you can pause me, you know, and it's like, okay, just stop for a minute, lady, and then you can catch up. Because everybody works at different speeds. And then when you lose track of time, because when that creative brain starts to take over, we sort of lose track of time, and you know, an hour could go by and you thought it was maybe 5 minutes. So
Yeah.
that's good. If you're going slow and you're not done, that's not a bad thing.
I'm almost done.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. It doesn't even have to be finished tonight. Yeah.
Exactly.
Enjoy the process.
Thanks, Mom.
Thank you.
You are so welcome. So welcome. All right. Well, what time is it? All right. It's just about there. Well, thanks, you guys, for being with me this evening. I really appreciate it. I will keep you posted on the upcoming B class. That's a more of an in-depth course with, you know, more things that you would be learning along the way, but more Bs. And then those other events, I'll keep you posted. So I think you all did a fabulous job. Yeah. All right, guys. Bye, Joni. Good, she's there. Okay, she hears us. Okay, be well. Be well.
There's a bee flew right next to us as you said that.
Yeah. It's like,
Hi,
don't
little
forget
guy.
me. Thank you, little bee. Bye, Marky. Bye, Lori. Bye, Matthew. I'll see you guys soon.
Bye.
Bye.